Well, now seems like just as good a time as any to get the Tacoma in the garage and begin tearing down that thing even further to start on the drift project. So here we go. What's up, old girl? There we go. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. Like I said, time to get the Drift Taco into the garage and begin tearing it down even further on the inside. Yeah, let's get it in the garage, get to it. We got to arrange some things. I'm going to put the dirt bike over here on this side, and then we can get the truck in here. I'm going to put it on some dollies. That way I can move it around a little bit so it's a little bit more manageable in here. But yeah, let's do it. All right, that'll work for the time being. That is not ideal by any means, but we are working with tight space in here. This is a 2-car garage, but it's still very tight in here with all the stuff we have going on in here. There's just not a lot of space in here. So got to pack it in when I can and just move it around as often as possible. So now that that's over here, we have all this space over here to put the truck. So let's get the truck in here, get it up on the jack stands and or dollies and see how this is gonna go. First things first though, we gotta get this Ford 8.8 axle in here because it has been out behind the house for quite a while. I bought this thing a long time ago and it is gonna be getting worked on here soon as well. So I wanted to get it at least into the garage. I'm just gonna stick it over here against the wall and we'll get to this thing as soon as we can. I need to find a shop. It's surprisingly tough to find someone that will shorten this axle. Not a lot of shops want to do it for some reason. I get it, but also just somebody do it for me, please. I can strip it down and all that stuff, but welding it back and all that, I am a little bit unskilled in that area. Well, we got ourselves a bit of a bee's nest in here in the frame rail. They're just wasps, but I still don't want to get stung by them, you know what I mean? The gunk in here is something else. I think I've sprayed them all out, and once we take off all this stuff, then we can get to that. But let's just get it in here and hopefully we don't get stung. I don't know if I like trust that long term, but for now it does seem to work. Let's do the rear. It says they're like 1,000 pounds each rated, but those wheels look so small. And I don't even know, like, getting it onto the dollies is one thing, but these wheels are kind of small, so being able to push it around is another. I feel like, sit that right there. Once we get it on the dollies entirely, then we'll see how easy it is to roll around. But there we go. We are full dolly. See how it goes. Oh my word, it actually works. The wheels look like they're struggling. There is some like little gravels in the garage here, so. Can I push the front the same way? Oh yeah, the front's a lot harder to push. Okay, so as expected, the front is much more difficult to push. There it goes. Once the wheels turn the way they're supposed to, it rolls pretty easy, I guess. There's another bee. What happened to your nest, huh? You come back for it? Watch out, y'all. We got truck coming in. I mean, I can move it if I need to, which I will need to, but pushing on it there, I feel like I'm about to dent the fender, having to push it that hard. It does flex. So, I mean, it works, but it's not the ideal situation, but we're gonna have to do it that way. So, yeah, truck's on the dollies. I think I may have gotten a little bit ahead of myself. I went to take the battery out and I have yet to clean inside of here, and I'd like to get this cleaned up as best I can before I start taking everything apart and out of here. So I'm gonna go grab some degreaser and we'll come back and spray out this engine bay here because it's pretty gross. And what is that? Anyway, engine bay, pretty gross. Get that thing cleaned up. We'll put it back up onto the dollies and get it into its spot, and then we'll start taking some stuff out of there. All right, taking some engine gunk degreaser, spraying it all over it to getting it clean, hopefully. Right out of the daggone package, the cap is like broken and it's like down inside there. So I'm hoping this works. We'll try to use this can first and get rid of it, but I hate that. I should have checked it, but I didn't. Oh, hey, look at that, it does spray. Just cover absolutely everything. I'm not too worried about anything like electrical, nothing like that. That's why I'm just spraying this stuff everywhere and not taking really any precaution for stuff like that. So. Wow, we absolutely, that entire can is gone. That was real time. That lasted like a minute and a half, if that. Good thing I have another can. And that's how you blow through $12. All right, let's see what we accomplished here. I mean, honestly, not a lot. It knocked off some of the gunk, but not as much as I would have hoped. So I'm gonna spray some more gunk on there from the other jug I have, and then we'll leave it sit on there a little bit longer and see what that does. But I mean, it knocked the bark off, I guess. And I don't really have like a dirty brush that I want to use on this, so I mean, I can't really like scrub it, so I'm just kind of relying on the cleaner to do most of the work, which, you know, you got to agitate it a little bit by using a brush and stuff like that, I feel like, but hopefully this cleaner will do some more damage to the junk. There we go. In there, such as swimwear. This is not even where I remotely wanted to start, but I hate these tail lights, and so we're gonna go ahead and get these things off of there. Look at that. Luckily, gosh, this whole inside of this thing is like bubbled up. Ugh, there we go. Look at this thing. Yuck, dumb, gross. This was also not even remotely where I wanted to start at, but we got the wiring harness and stuff off the back here, and we got it pulled up to about the evap canister and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna stop right there though, because this is not the project, but these little plastic clips just kept breaking as I was pulling it, so I just kept pulling and pulling, and then, you know, there we are. So let's get to the inside of the truck. But first, we pull the battery, get that thing on a tender, because it's gonna be a while before we use this thing again, I feel like. Okay, we're back out here working on this thing, and we're gonna get in on the interior. I got a little bit distracted the other day, and I took off the hood and all that kind of stuff just to get it out of the way. I'm just doing a lot of things I shouldn't be doing just yet, so let's get to the interior and finish going through here. We gotta get all this wiring out of here. We're gonna do like a full, like brand new harness, like everything just from scratch, because all this wiring is super old. It's very hard. It's broken in a lot of places. The wiring is from 2002. So, I mean, it's time to update it a little bit, because we're going to have a brand new harness and all that stuff for the engine swap, everything. So we might as well do all new wiring in here. So I got to figure out all that kind of stuff. And since we're taking out the heater core and all that kind of stuff, we can get rid of a lot of things. And so we're going to try to get it down to like a very minimal harness in here. So, yeah, anyway, let's start getting some things unhooked and labeled. Now, I have never done something like this before, as far as like making a wiring harness from scratch, most likely, how we're gonna have to do this. So my thought is, if I can label everything back there as far as like tail light, stuff like that, I can follow the wires back and know what colors are what. So it shouldn't be too difficult. I'm gonna say that now, but I know it's gonna be, because it's wiring. I'm trying to keep my head, as in like, don't get too intimidated by the wires, because I feel like that's a big part of it. Is you look at all the wires, it looks like a mess, and you get intimidated, and then you don't want to mess with it. So if I just keep my head as in like, it's just wires, somebody did it at some point in time as well, so it can't be that hard. If it was done once before, it can be done again. So I'm just going to try to keep as good of notes as I can, and hopefully it'll all work out. I wish I had like a little bit smaller of a set of, God, I just noticed all this. Look at all this. I'm assuming that's like dielectric grease, And that can't be stuff that's just happening to get in there. That has to be like on purpose, right? I'm assuming all this right here is some kind of like dielectric grease to keep the connections and stuff from corroding and whatnot, but that's pretty gross. All right, I'm gonna write on this thing. Obviously this will be easy to remember, but label, 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 you know? Rear harness. So we'll push this plug out. Will this fit through? It will. Let's go under the truck and we'll get that whole back half of the harness out of there. All right, we got the evap canister here unplugged. Now we're gonna work through here. It's gonna be a lot easier to just remove this bracket for the filler neck than snaking this wire through there. So just gonna hit this one good time. Maybe I need a breaker bar, all right? To be honest with you, I should probably go ahead and just start laying the PB blast to a lot of this stuff because it's not gonna come off easy, I don't think. Man, you can just hear the crunching. I don't know how this thing even, like, a lot of these hoses are so dry rotted that, I mean, I feel like they still work because they haven't been moved, but the moment I move these and bend them, they're gonna just crack and fall apart. And up, and there we go. Easy peasy. Now we pull this whole harness here from the back of the truck, and this thing just needs to be unclipped in a couple other places under the truck, I think, and we should be good. The road grime and the gunk is something else. Holy shit, that scared the shit out of me. Something just fell on my face and it was like still hanging. Thought it was like a gigantic spider. Oh, they put this wiring clip on the top of the frame rail, like up against the cab. And it's so hard to get in there and break it out. Just gotta break some clips sometimes, you know? Did I get it? No. Almost. Ha. We're gonna unplug it from here. Blink. What do you do? What is your purpose? Oh, there we go. And can we get it through? Come on. There we go. Whole back half of the truck is now unplugged. Working on these old cars is just fun for me because it's like there's 3 plugs that plugged in the whole back half of the truck. It's crazy. Now let's wash our hands and get ourselves clean so we're not getting this shit all over the harness on the inside now. Ugh. I mean, honestly, if that was like a new vehicle, there'd be like 64 wires going to that one taillight because it has some new stupid sensor in it that tells you when the guy next to you farts so you know whether to change lanes or not. All right, so long, zip-tied gauge cluster. All right. How do you come out? Do you just pull? Yep. Hey. All right. Okay, I'm gonna go through and get this main harness out of here, and then we can just kind of move on from there. I won't show you guys all that stuff, but I'm just gonna go through, break some clips off, get the harness out from the dash, and yeah, go from there. So it looks as though it's gonna be easier to take the steering wheel and all this stuff off of here to get this out because everything is kind of like tied in back there. So I'm just kind of gonna do, there's a T25 on this side and a T30 on this side. Why it's different, I have no idea, but it definitely is. So that wasn't on there tight at all. Definitely not as tight as the Evo, that's for sure. Oh my goodness, that is unreal. That is not 37 foot-pounds. I'm here to tell you, I've taken off every bolt on this car, and that is not, is not on there 37 foot-pounds. I'm gonna end up breaking something here, and it's not gonna be pretty for anybody. Oh, whoo! So now I guess I can remove the airbag. Yeah. Even though everything is unplugged, the battery and all that stuff is unplugged, I get so anxious dicking around with airbags. You know what I mean? Unplug that, and there we go. Okay, meow. We have, how does this plastic piece come off of here, bro? Oh, there's screws behind the steering wheel. What kind of shit is that? Well, okay. Let me grab something to get the steering wheel off, I guess. I want to say this is a 17 by the looks of it. Damn! Damn! 19. I meant to say 19. All right, let's God, that was easy. This shit's not very, this shit was not on there tight at all. Do I just pull? Ow! Unplug that, at least. Haha! And there are the 2 screws. That's ridiculous. So you're telling me if I wanted to take this plastic trim off, I would have to do all this. That is kind of crazy. And there we go. I'm gonna slip my wrist here. Oh, what the frig? How is that the only one that's on there crazy tight? Ow, there we go. Man, those are the two tightest bolts on this whole steering column. All right, loose. There we go. Pull the spring. There we go. Okay, man, there are just so many plugs under here. All right, let me get the dash bar out of here. I think I can get this thing out fairly easy now. And then whatever's attached, we can just take off at that point once I get it out and see what's still attached. Dash bolts go over there. These guys go here. These guys go back here. Put everything back the way it came. That way we don't mess nothing up. What is still held down? I mean, that feels rock ass solid. Something, there's more hardware somewhere? No, surely not. Aha, this is still there. So there's a screw here on the ECU. 2 screws on the ECU, let's see. Get in there. All right, there we go. Okay, did that do anything? Better? Whoopsie! There we go. Ah! Oh, can we release? There's another bolt back there. Ah. Most of the time, if it begins to be a struggle, there's something somewhere that is still tied down. I used to just yank and pull, and I'd break things, thinking I had to force it. You don't have to force it. Oh, you're so close. Okay, what are you hooked on? There we go. You're hooked on this. Gimme, oof. What are you? I'm not being, FYI, I am not being in the least bit careful, so. Nope, there's still something else. I'll be damned. Oh, the spring. There's a spring here. Oh. Come on. What the f? There we go. All right. That should, yes, okay. Woo! Well, this looks a little bit more intimidating whenever all the stuff is exposed. I will say that. We're cruising now. I would think that this is the stage that you can say that we're balls deep. Come off. There we go. Just dry. This used to be probably foam around this. Not so much anymore. The hair that's in here, whoever owned this before me, or however many years ago owned this thing, had to have traveled with a dog, because there is just so much hair back in here that looks like dog and animal hair. So I can only assume. Oh, there we go. And what is this thing plugged into it? So this has to be a plug, but why is it not coming out? Like, there's no release. Come out. There we go. Oh, so there was a there was a clip. I just didn't. Oh well.
I used to just yank and pull, and I'd break things, thinking I had to force it. You don't have to force it.
Anyway, look at the mold that's in here. It looks like mold anyway. It probably isn't good to breathe either way, but yeah. 2002, baby! This being the heater core, probably has coolant lines. We'll figure that out as we go. We'll get these things out next. I have went ahead and drained the radiator because I want to take that heater core out of there. Obviously, we have to do that to get it out of there. And so, drain the radiator. I've clamped these hoses off. I'm gonna go ahead and pull those off of there now. That way we can begin, ooh, spark shot off of that. That way we can go ahead and begin getting the radiator core, or the heater core, out of there. Hopefully we won't make a big mess with the radiator fluid. I'm sure there's gonna be some dribbles, but you know, rather there not be a giant mess. That clamp is twisted all sorts of ways. Son of, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off. I'm gonna try to stick a pick back behind it to break the years-long seal, if I can even do it. I may have to just cut these hoses, which that's fine too. No, there we go. Let's try to pull it again. Oof. Let me wipe off my glasses and then we can carry on to the next hose. There we go. Much better. Let's pull this hose now. Actually, let me go grab my pick. I need my pick. Get that in there. I know this is really hard to like show you, and I'm not really showing you the exact process what I'm doing here, but I'm just taking this pick and sticking it like behind the hose and into the hose and like running it along the edge, trying to break the seal that's been on there for years. As you guys may know, or if you're new here, you may have guessed, I'm a one-man show here, so trying to film perfect angles is not always what I can do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to move this hood, get back into here, and I'm gonna get behind it and pull it this way. Come on, come off for me. I might just have to say F it and get the fluid on me. Shoot, man. Oh, there it is. That didn't get on me that time, so that's good. Heater core is unhooked. Should be easy to now just pull it out of the dash. Everything should be unhooked. Pull the two little ports through the firewall. There we go. Holy shite, that is dirty back in there. Very, very gross and crusty. Don't know what all is down inside of there. I'm not gonna find out. We're just gonna throw this in the trash because it is of no use to me anymore. This harness is almost out. We had to move, ow, those are actually hot. Had to move a couple different things here to get things up through here. Another plug that I have no idea what goes to anything. Let's just remove the fuse box. We'll get that out of the way. Should be able to see a few more things at least. Holy crap. All right, I guess that's a first right there. I just tried to remove this bolt right here and I twisted that entire little bracket that it's sitting on. So I guess that bolt is seized into that because that whole thing twisted. I'll show you, hang on one sec. I have never seen something like that. That is wild. Well, we got the bolt free, but the bracket is all twisted up. So I guess it's a good thing that we're doing a whole new setup for a fuse box. There we go. This is a fuse box. Alright, I got a little bit distracted with all this up through here because this harness goes from here all the way over there to those headlights and then they come across. Let's get this out of here and then we can just lay this junk, what? Oh, ground. And we can just lay this junk across the front of the truck and over, just lay this over here. But we did get the hood cable out of there though, you know? All right, let's move on to this side here. I'm gonna attempt to get this whole big mess of wires inside the cab out of here because I think I can unhook all this stuff right here that I did over there and this should go through. So I really don't want to pull that entire, which I can't because the fuse box is attached to that. So I can't pull this whole thing through this hole. So yeah, let's just start trying to get this thing out of here and we'll get that big rat's nest of wires out of the cab, hopefully. What is with you, mate? There we go. Hey, I'm gonna cut, where's my razor blade? Not out here, excellent. Hell with it, I'm gonna pull the friggin' airbox off, I guess. Let's see. Oh, I think I'm starting to overdo it today. My back and my neck is starting to hurt pretty bad. Went to the chiropractor this morning, I know, but I've been about 4 or 5-ish years ago, I guess. I had a motocross accident where I partially collapsed a lung, done some things to the rib area, and for like 4 or 5 years I've been feeling like something back there is just not right. And so my dad finally talked me into going to the chiropractor, and I went there a few times, and turns out I had a rib that was turned. She said, "Do you find it hard to breathe sometimes?" I'm like, "Yeah, sometimes." And she's like, "Yeah, there was a rib turned in there that we just got," because it was a very deep pop and it felt great. So we've been fighting putting that rib back in because it keeps wanting to turn. So yeah. What's up, Lang? You just wake up from a fresh nap? Oh, you little cute butt. You just wake up from a nappies? Yeah. That's all that goes to? You couldn't have put that on some other harness? I wonder if I pull that, all the washer fluid would come out. Oops. Well, that answers your question. Go, go, go. Holy cannoli. We did it. The entire harness in the truck is out. Woo! I guess I could say I didn't go this far in the Evo. I did not take out the dash bar, nothing like that. So this is the farthest I have gone with a vehicle before, and so that is rather exciting. But now that we have all this stuff out of here, now what? I feel like I just lost a tool down in there, but I don't know which tool. Anyway. All right, that works. Old ass grill. I'm surprised it didn't like crack whenever I pulled it, but look at this thing. Faded, cruddy. Yeah. I win. I win. Ouch. Nope, you win, sorry. The entire harness, except for the engine harness. Everything's off the truck now. Holy crap. We got horns are gone. All this shit's gone. Lights, everything over here. Windshield washer fluid thing over here. All that shit was all in one harness. We had a little bit of a spill. I pulled on a wire and it was attached to the hose for the washer fluid. So it went everywhere, but that's okay. It's just washer fluid. So yeah, all of the wiring except for the engine is off the truck. I forgot to film the outro before I turned off all the lights in the garage, and it is now a pain in the ass to get over there and turn them all back on, so we're going to do it in the dark. Successful day in the garage. We got all the wiring off the truck except for the engine harness. That was a big deal to me today. I wanted to get that done and get that accomplished, and I pushed it a little bit longer than I wanted to today, but we were just so close to getting all the wiring off of there, I wanted to get it done. So I'm glad we got all that stuff off of there. Now we got to do the steering column. The pedals are still in there. We'll figure all that out later, but we're moving right along in the teardown process. And so yeah, if you got this far, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much. As always, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about everything, and see you next time. Bye.